Howdy, howdy, everyone. Mob Ross here with our fourth episode of our special Between Two Wolves extension. I'm here with Eliux today. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Mom.
Thank you for being willing and for all your hard work on the team. Where are we?
Today we are in the depths of, I don't know the lore. This is the Light Gray Dungeon. This is my favorite world dungeon. I've always just loved the vibes in here. All the ice, the colors. It's really great.
Fantastic taste. Palace of Mirrors. I think that's the lore name. Very cool. And what are we doing? What are our mods?
We picked some entropy, always leaving it up to the numbers, and we've got a small smattering of everything.
Cozy. We'll lead on and we'll just get on into it.
Right,
You want to introduce
cool.
yourself in terms of working? Like, what do you do on the team?
On TM, I do actually a pretty various assortment of things. I initially started off with plugin, but I now do, I still do occasional plugin. I do a decent amount of building. I do commands, and I can do pretty much a lot of things. But those are the primary three.
Very good. What are the other things? Talk yourself up, man. Let's look at the full scope of things you do.
Talks up. This isn't really a thing, but I spend a lot of time thinking about gameplay design and stuff. So it's mobs as well. I've designed a few bosses in my time.
Which ones? Or what are your favorites that you've made, at least?
My favorite, I guess the one I put the most effort into was Experiment 71 in Hunts.
Sweet. What like in terms of boss design, what about it do you think excels? Since you've thought so much about boss design, what are its virtues?
I know some people have found it to be a little bit too chaotic, but it's precisely the chaos that develops as the fight progresses to be really engaging, because it can be very simple at the start, doesn't have too much going on. But then when you get into the later phases, you suddenly have a lot more to deal with, and that leaves you sort of having to almost improvise a little bit each fight to find out how do I manage this situation.
I get it. Very cool. And what did you first apply to do? Mob dev?
I initially applied expecting to primarily do plugin, since that's what I found myself most capable of before joining TM, but also I had occasionally built a few things in single player worlds, and so I just attached a few of my screenshots for a portfolio, and now I've ended up being I probably consider myself a builder of anything.
Nice.
So
that's very cool.
it's funny how
Most
we
don't
progress.
have- Yeah, but most that got really involved don't have that level of variety so quickly. Because you're relatively new to the team. What, year and a half now?
I think it's closer to 2.5. I really don't remember myself. Time's a funny concept.
Sure. So what first drew you to Monumenta as a player?
Kind of hard to say, considering it was so long ago. But I really found it's kind of like a fleeting memory in my head. But I remember I played Windcraft before this primarily. I also had a few hours on Skyblock, but I was playing Windcraft in a voice chat with the Windcraft Guild, and I remember it was actually Bike Super. I remember watching him stream some Monumenta, and I think he was going through the R2 Ocean at the time, and I just saw the Corsair's Claw.
Nice.
And that it just looked super cool, so I really thought I should try out the server, and I guess it's history since then. But yeah.
Cool. How would you, like, coming from a Windcraft background, how did Monumenta surprise you and let you down? What does Windcraft do better and worse than us?
Windcraft definitely is more forgiving on the early players, and definitely wants them to get further into the game. It feels like, I mean, not that we don't want players, but it feels like our early game at some times can be a little bit harsh on people.
Hence the whole meme with "Welcome to Dark Souls" when people join.
Yeah. In terms of what we do better, I definitely think our progression is better because.
Nice.
The delve system, I remember initially, sort of, it's just the amount of content that stems from it alone was really amazing to me. So I found basically it to be a really great hook for keeping people in the end game.
Amen. That was like one of the biggest wow moments to all of us when Rubik's finally kind of prototyped that. Of the dungeons can be harder? Everything was just completely base until then, for years. So,
yeah.
I completely get it. And what drew you to apply as a developer? Was there a person who encouraged you, or event?
I guess it's a combination of, Bike again had applied for developer before me, so I knew that there was already someone in there that I could, it was like 1 degree more familiar to me as a result, so it felt less ominous approaching it. But also, I think mainly for me, in my free time, I spend occasionally I'll just have this project in the back of my head, usually a coding project, that I'll just dump like hours on end for multiple days until I get it done. I think an example of this was there was like a particle gravity simulator, just using like pixels on a screen in Java, but I saw some sort of paper on an optimization method that used quad trees, which is made up
You're
word.
gonna have to walk that back here a little bit, like an academic paper.
It was kind of an academic paper, kind of like a cool internet article.
Very cool.
But
and this is how you spend your time looking up papers on articles on particle gravity simulation.
I don't know how I get there. I occasionally just end up on like this complete holes where of like coding tech and stuff.
That's awesome, dude. How did you start off in coding and programming?
It's likely this isn't too uncommon. I'm pretty sure the first things I ever did were projects on Scratch, if you ever heard of it, the website with block coding. Something like I don't remember the URL.
Itch.io? No, I know itch.io. There's a corollary called Scratch.
I think it was developed by MIT students, and it's a really cool tool for helping people to learn how to program, mostly younger kids. But I remember seeing the initial projects people could make on that and having my mind blown, considering I tried to make my own stuff in it, and what do you expect for like a 9-year-old kid who has no experience? But I had my mind blown with like how elaborate people could make these projects when I had difficulty trying to make like
hello world.
Yeah, but it was I don't know, it was just really cool to see what potential there was for programming. So that just really got me into various programming. So from there I went into Java. I was really bad at it too, but we over time got better at it, and then from there I I don't even know. I've done various stuff, so.
Awesome. How did you come up with your username?
I pretty sure that I was reading Lord of the Rings.
Nice.
And at the same time, I was kind of thinking of, like, I wanted a username for something because I didn't really have anyone, and this has nothing to do with Lord of the Rings, but I just remember reading Lord of the Rings at the time, so that's just sort of like an association.
Yeah, I get it. Kind of places the memory.
Yeah, I can thank Tolkien for being a some subconscious inspiration, I guess. Who knows?
There's worse people to be inspired by.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it just sort of came together. I was like trying to think of like what's a cool username someone can have. So I was like, gotta have an X in there somewhere. What sounds good with that kind of thing? So then I just ended up with Eliux, and then I changed the I to an E because I wanted to change my Minecraft username, but the other one was taken. So then I just ended up with Eliux.
Very cool. You ever played Kingdom Hearts 2 or any of those games?
I can't say I know anything beyond hearing the name.
Okay, never mind. Just the whole adding an X to your name and moving the letters around is a whole mystery thing to it. I was just wondering if that was part of the inspiration. Tolkien's much cooler.
Yeah.
Very good. What is the piece of content that you've helped with that you personally dislike the most? These are based on patron questions that we got before.
Great.
Doesn't have to be your idea, but just worked on.
I guess not for any reason of the content itself, but the first content that I released, I guess, that resulted in my initial promotion was Marina Noir. And so I guess I'd say Marina, not because of anything with the map. I think it's pretty fun to play. I just find the gallery as a whole being a little bit shaky overall. So I think that's
shaky in what sense?
The progression overall. You're usually forced to like seek out the mystery box. Oh yeah, I'm going for this. Wish me luck.
Hey, good for you. Who dares wins.
Yeah, I find the whole progression of it, all the runs feel usually very similar. You're forced to hunt out the mystery box, and it revolves a lot around RNG. So that's what I've always found to be a little bit suboptimal about.
Gotcha. Did you ever play the content that inspired it, COD Zombies?
I don't think I've ever seen any gameplay of COD Zombies either. I've heard that it's the influence, but I've never
nice
investigated it.
Help it click. Yeah, that's fair. So in terms of just playing, what, regardless of whether you worked on it, what is your favorite thing to play in Monumenta and your least favorite, and why? I don't think we went up here.
Did we?
I don't believe so.
Oh no, we didn't.
We don't have to full clear, just making sure you know.
We do. I have complete OCD. We gotta. Favorite content is, I feel like this is like 80% of people's answer, but I'm a huge fan of the gameplay loop Zenith has, except for charms, really. But I
was about to say, if RNG's your problem, then how's that work?
Yeah, I remember the initial few.
Good save.
The initial few runs of Zenith I did, lower ascensions, like grinding up through like A 8 or so without any charms, where I had to take every single room. Like, one wrong step would be the end of my life, because it would.
That's the best.
Those few runs were definitely probably the most fun I've had in all of Monumenta.
Very good.
For least favorite content, hard to say. I think it's probably, no shade to Pink, but I think it's probably the second half of Pink.
Ouch! Ooh, that is a hot take. Sorry to hear.
It just feels like it gets very repetitive after that point, and I always forget the library exists, and then the library appears before me, and I'm wrecked.
Understood.
But yeah, it's definitely a very fun dungeon first time going through, though. I really enjoyed it. It's just after my 20th delve. I haven't actually delved it 20 times, but you know. So.
Yeah, sorry, I was completely focused on the game. So if you were made the dictator of Monumenta tomorrow, and you were a benevolent dictator, everyone loved you, everyone was happy with all of your decisions, and you wouldn't upset anyone, how would you change the game? If you could have your way with anything.
Okay, how do I not get fired?
No, it's free. Remember, the patrons paid to ask these questions long ago, so you're just giving the people what they want.
Okay, so it's their fault, not mine. Good to know.
Absolutely,
good to know. Absolutely. Okay,
unless it's like
I
murder
would
busty
delete.
IRL, that would probably get some people not like you.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go that far.
Good, I'm glad to hear.
Yeah, I probably would delete Potion Injector.
Oh yeah, that's a very reasonable take. Do tell though. Go off, King.
Okay, well, it's always frustrating how it sort of feels like it nullifies the consequences of a lot of dangerous situations. How it's almost like in harder content, I'm forced to take more risks, which is cool that it allows me to take more risks, but also I'm not like punished for nearly as many of those risks. I can just click a singular item in my hotbar and be back at full health.
Perfectly reasonable. Anything more? That's it? Anything more endemic to the game, or?
Okay. Well, my second decree would be. I delete Scout. No, I wouldn't actually delete Scout.
What do you mean?
I usually play. Yeah, that's a tragic loss. I'll see you in the afterworld. I usually play Reaper or Warrior or Sword Sage. So I don't think I've actually ever like fully played Scout in a non half committed, just trying it out way. So I can't throw too much shade on Scout. Anyways, I am not a huge fan of the Masterwork system.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a beast of unthinkable proportions to try to even comprehend solving the issues. But I have always found it peculiar that any item you can get in the game scales into endgame. So, like the Wolfswood offhand sword that I picked up would have the same power level as some offhand sword that I get from like Black or something. So and the issue more is that the offhand sword that you get from black is going to be at like Masterwork 6 or 7 when you get it. So in fact, it's going to be cheaper than the Wolfswood sword, which feels like it's reversed from how typical progression should follow.
Understand?
So, yeah.
But again, this is like a hypothetical. So if you could just snap your hands, you would have the progression be kind of like it is in R1 and R2, where each thing you get is for its level. Got it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Understood. What other team member has been most helpful to you in getting set up on the... You okay? Oh, good.
We're good.
And who is your favorite if they're separate people?
It's hard to choose just one person, but I guess for both, Charging UV and Niknon have both been really instrumental in getting me to like both be active in progression as in development, as well as sort of like improving as a developer.
Awesome. I interviewed Charging yesterday, and he said the same thing about Niknon. I'm glad he's been a good steward of y'all.
Yeah.
Good help. Cool.
I think we forgot to press one of the buttons.
I just checked in chat. I was paranoid about that too. We've done 2 of 3. Last one is... Yeah, I remember the path. There was a side path we didn't go down right here on the left.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Are there any upcoming like vanilla Minecraft features that you're looking forward to using as a dev?
I don't know if it's an upcoming feature, but it's because it's already released, but the tough blocks that are out in 1.20.121, I don't remember the version. Yeah, I think it's 1.21. As a builder, they're just sort of tremendous because for so long, we only really had like stone and stone bricks, which is a singular shade of gray to work with. And now that we have deep slate, it's that's another dimension to have, but they're so far from each other that it's kind of hard to blend the two. And then tough gives you that perfect shade of gray in between that allows you to basically just make a whole bunch of stuff that works that you couldn't before.
Awesome. And that's... Did you figure out which version it is, or remember?
It's like the next one after.
Awesome. So 1.20.5 probably?
I think so, yeah, that sounds about right.
Very cool. What is something that you regret about Monumenta? Could be something that was like a development thing that you wish you could take back or do differently? Anything like that?
It's kind of hard to say because there's so many dimensions I could take with this answer. But
I've already cleared the tower.
Oh, cool. I don't know if something I personally was involved with, so I don't know if I could really regret it, but the current death system always feels off to me.
In what way would you improve it?
That's really hard to say as well, because I started playing with the old death system, and I really it was definitely way too punishing on players, but I liked how my death felt like it had like
Okay,
consequence.
Do you know how little the old death system narrows it down? We're on like version 5 or 6.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I was your grave where you had to click it and stuff to prevent the items. Yeah. That's there were only 2 death systems in my existence.
I see. And
so
was that the one where like if you wiped everything, if you shattered everything in your inventory, it would be like 20 HCS or something to repair?
Yeah, something like that. I never full shattered, so maybe that's why I'm not traumatized by it.
Sure, that's probably very likely, yeah. But cool.
Yeah.
I totally get that. Was there ever a time that you felt like giving up on a project here in Monumenta? Like scrapping the effort that you'd put into it?
I almost forgot about the trap. Okay, I did forget about the trap.
This cleansing totem's not doing its job.
It's really... Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know if it's something large, but I felt like, well, as a part of designing stuff, we have to go through a lot of iterations. So for various bosses, there have been sort of like entire dimensions of its design that I've sort of scrapped because I found that they didn't work. I guess the best example was for the Hunts boss, the Impenetrable. My initial design was that it would sort of like delete chunks of the floor as you went on, so it would sort of narrow the area. But then I couldn't find a way to make that work, so I had to scrap that design and ended up with the more current one, which I think is a bit more boring, but it definitely works.
Yeah, I think people enjoy it. But I see your point. That would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
When you first started out, did you feel like there was a culture of perfection where you expected to perform, or was everyone chill?
I feel like, if anything, I'm always the one who's the most perfectionist. So yeah, no, it's always felt very chill to me, except it's just natural. I know I need to like accept stuff that I've made that I might not find perfect is definitely good enough, but I've just always had such a degree of perfectionism that I can't like let stuff that I don't find absolutely perfect sort of go out into the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very respectable. Do you have have you ever played a CTM? I know you came from the Windcraft side of things.
I guess if you count Monumenta, that's the first CTM, but after that,
Sunday school answer, yeah, technically, sure.
Yeah, but after that, I've played Simulation Protocol 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which...
That totally counts.
Which was pretty cool. If you haven't played a CTM, I definitely recommend checking it out. Probably not your best first CTM, but it has some of the coolest builds and environment design that I've seen in the game of Minecraft. So
absolutely.
Apart from that, I played correct me if I'm wrong. I think the map name is Final Paradox.
Yes, I haven't played it, but that is one that exists.
I think I got halfway through that one before dropping it. But and then finally I've played Ragecraft 4.
Nice. Oh man. Really? So you would recommend SPO3 over Ragecraft 4 as a first introduction?
I'd probably recommend Ragecraft 4.
Okay.
Thinking about it, but I'm okay.
Well, good. Glad you got to have a taste of that. So, did you play those after having played Monumenta first?
Yeah. So I definitely got my framework from Monumenta, but
Thank you. What an awful trap.
the powdered snow is diabolical, man. It really gets you. They made it look exactly like the regular snow, unless you've like got a microscope and are staring at it. Like it's pretty
Nobody
evil.
got time for that. Awesome. What has been your favorite bit of drama in the Monumenta community?
I usually try to avoid drama at all costs because I either get way too involved with it or it just gives me way too undue anxiety or something like that. So either that or I've like historically rewritten. Oh my
I'm
goodness.
so glad that didn't land on your head. In fact, I'm going to start mining out from under it.
That or I've like rewritten my memory to not involve the drama, so I don't know if I can pull a.
Yeah, no worries. That's a perfectly fine answer. Do you have any cool scars? I forgot to ask some of the others. This one.
Interesting. I don't know how it's happened, but both of my elbows have like giant scar patches on them from when I was a kid. I feel like that's like not too uncommon. But,
yeah. Like on the inside or outside of your elbows, like where you rest your weight.
Outside. Yeah, like I definitely fell way too hard on like a patch of gravel at one point, but I have no memory. But it's been there ever since.
You didn't like skateboard or anything?
No, I did. I did ride around on a bike quite a bit when I was younger, but yeah, I had another bike injury. I don't really want to describe it. I don't think many people would appreciate it, but
understood.
Yeah, so.
Very nice. What was your favorite subject in school?
I'd probably say it was math, mostly because I had a really good teacher for 2 years.
That makes the difference. Any
Yeah,
particular
really.
one? Geometry, algebra, calculus?
Calculus is probably what got me into like thinking the way I do, because I feel like it's a universal experience among those who take calculus, where it's like the stuff that makes like an integral work doesn't seem like it should ever possibly work, but it just does.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who haven't taken calculus yet,
Those who do not
you
know
will
its
get there in
joys.
time. Yeah.
Very good. Sorry, I was focusing on something. What has prepared you best, either in school or out of school, for the work that you've done here?
I guess there's two dimensions to this. I'd probably say developing. I made a mod called the Monumenta Item Dictionary for.
Oh, that was you. Nice.
Yeah. That I think that project. It also probably helped my application to the team.
I'll say.
But
I think I remember that now. Yes, it did. I can confirm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that working on that project sort of helped me get to a level where I felt capable enough working with Minecraft related Java, even though it's not plugins, it's a fabric mod. It definitely helped me to that. Tell me feel like I could apply to the team and not be like completely clueless and have
Sure.
no idea what I'm doing.
And then you get
I
in
guess-
and realize that you've got the highest standard of perfection.
Yeah,
That's kind of funny.
but I guess other than that, the only real experience I had before this of working in a sort of team environment was the high school robotics team I was a part of for like 3
Nice.
years. So that definitely sort of gave me my first taste of like working in a team environment.
Was that a positive experience? I've heard all over the board with
Yeah.
robotics.
The first year was pretty good, and then it went downhill from there. So I joined it freshman year high school. It was a pretty fun year because it was actually 2020, so all of the normal competitions that you have in high school were shut down. So we just had we had our own sort of like competition among members of the high school.
But why? The robots can't get COVID.
Uh,
You're taking that question way too seriously. You want
Yeah.
to do the lake real quick? Do the downstairs section so we can get
Oh,
the
I forgot the downstairs exists. Yeah. But yeah, that year definitely was the peak because we just had so much more freedom of what we could do, and the second year and third year we went back to the typical competitions, and it didn't go very well for us, to say the least.
Oh,
So
sorry.
no, it was fun. It just typical high school robotics.
Typical high school robotics. What's
As
the
it
most
goes.
difficult technical issue that you've encountered and solved here on TM?
I don't know how to explain this without sounding like a madman.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool if we had a madman on the team. Go for it if you want.
Maybe you do. But when I was implementing the discovery system, which is the sort of like glowing orbs you can punch to pick up items, I needed to find a way to sort of like save a complete list of every single discovery that was created in the game.
Okay.
So
I'm not seeing the madness yet.
it's difficult because all our code is sort of like broken up to different servers and stuff. So there's not like one sort of like centralized location I could save it to.
Mhm.
And also the method of saving. So I ended up having to take a giant rabbit hole down one of our I'm blanking on the word. It's called Redis. It's basically how the server stores data. So I had to basically learn about how Redis worked to figure out how to save all the data in a way that wouldn't cause the server to crash or something like that, is the best way I can try to describe it.
Understood. I appreciate your not assuming too much from me in terms of understanding this.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for doing that. The discovery system's really cool.
Yeah.
It almost makes me want to like reset because it feels so forced for me to go back and try to find them. But discovering those along your way on your first run, that feels like it would add a lot of value. So thank you.
Yeah, that's always been the goal. Where they're pretty inspired by Elden Ring and Elden Ring's pickup. Like visually, they're a little bit similar. Don't tell FromSoft, but I've just always been a huge fan of how various forms of exploration have been rewarded in the various FromSoft games. So I kind of wanted to see if I could bring that sort of level of I don't really know how to describe it, but it's the feeling you get when you check down that like weird back alley corner, not expecting to see anything, and then you find some item. It can be like 3 worn down throwing knives, but it's still cool that to know that they thought to put something there. Yeah. So I just wanted to try to transfer that as best I could, and that's the system that was come up with.
Yeah, because until then you're like, am I supposed to be here? Or is this going to be pointless? And then you're like, oh yeah, there we go. It was not. Well done. The discovery system definitely embodies that. You succeeded. What's your most embarrassing skill issue moment when playing Monumenta?
Maybe this. Okay, it all goes back. Maybe this is why I don't like pink, but
whoa,
I had that was a massacre down there. You know that like stair lava trap in pink, the fire section.
Ah, yes, I know just the one. That one's so good.
I was so mad that I fell in it the first time, because I was like, okay, I'm at like the 8th dungeon in the game. I shouldn't be falling for these anymore. And then when I was going back to get my grave and stuff, because this is before the current death system. This was the old death system, where if I'd fallen in the lava and it would have been absolutely over for me. I would have had to pay off, like, I would have taken out like 4 mortgages.
For the Monumenta Mafia.
Yeah. Sign a few contracts in the back alley, you know. But I stumbled into it by accident when I was trying to go down to get my grave, and I don't know how I didn't lose everything, but I think I managed to collect my items while I was in the lava, and then punch the grave.
Nice.
So I think I shattered like 3 items instead of like my entire inventory. It was pretty bad at the time, because I fell in a stair lava trap pit twice in a row.
Oh, the second time was accidental.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's rough, man. Well, see, it's exactly that placement of, it's the 8th dungeon. Of course there won't be a trap like that. That's why it gets you. That's why everyone knows that trap, because no one expects it at that point.
Yeah, it's pretty good design.
You know, if I recall correctly, when I asked that same question of Combustible, he said the same trap got him. That was the worst destruction of his inventory. So if the boss, you're in good company if the boss fell for the same one.
Yep.
I am almost back. So since we can't pay you and all the dev work is voluntary and you're very generously donating your time and effort and feelings to all this, what keeps you motivated? Why are you still here? Why are you doing all this?
For me, it's really, I just like creating things. So this server has an audience that I know a decent amount of people will enjoy the stuff I make. So that really, I don't know, it's just the intrinsic motivation from knowing that what I can create will result in some people having fun. So
awesome. Is there any particular like subset of the audience, like your guild, your friends that you've made, or just the general one? That
It's really the general one.
cool.
Because I feel like I've grown. A lot of the people who I've known over time who haven't resulted in becoming developers have sort of strayed away from the game a little bit. So I feel like a lot of the audience I'm currently in touch with is other developers, and then just the general player audience.
For sure.
Results in.
You mentioned you were very interested in boss design. What's a game that you've drawn inspiration from, or has like peak boss design? A great example to emulate.
Peak boss design is you can't really draw too much for Monumenta, but the best boss design in any game I've ever seen was Sekiro.
Nice, yeah. Which ones stand out to you, and why?
Okay, well we got we have to have the giant monkey, the guardian ape.
The first fight or the second one with the two runaway.
The first one where.
Yeah. It's been long enough. You can spoil.
Yeah. Okay, it's the first one where it returns from the dead after you've defeated it. It's such an incredible twist that the embarrassing thing for me is that I remember seeing a clip of it happening to someone else beforehand, and then I still got scared by it myself.
They sell it well. They do the whole thing like, oh, that's a static mesh now. That is no longer a moving model. It looks just like a piece of the environment once it's dead.
It does, yeah. It's pretty evil. But other than that, I think I've always been hesitant to say like the best of the best, but Ishin, the final boss of the game, is probably the best boss fight I've ever had in a game.
Sword Saint? Or the
Sword Saint.
One? Okay. Dadgummit.
Yikes.
Yeah, we never unlocked the TP hub, so I gotta take the long way.
Oh.
I'll be there shortly.
I can try to get the watchtower point here, which can speed it up.
Yeah, if we can. Yeah, sure. I'll wait for you. But yeah, good taste. Sword Saint Ishin is just peak. What's something you wish the player base would stop doing? It could be something like just annoying or legitimately demotivating and harmful to Monumenta. Remember, the patrons asked.
The patrons asked. Okay, this is on you. But I guess there's various degrees, but the thing that irks me the most is when I boot up the Monumenta Discord, scroll down to the screenshots channel, and then I see a bug. And then I scroll down to the bug reports channel, and I do not see that bug. So if you see something that is clearly a bug, please just report it. Don't put it in the screenshots channel. Or if you're going to put it in the screenshots channel, just report it as well. It's just so much more helpful for us to have to find bugs in the game if we have it all in one place rather than having to scan through the screenshots channel as well, just for those few extra bugs.
For sure. That's a good answer. So why is Monumenta special to you at this point? You kind of alluded to this with your motivation question.
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of motivation for me as a developer. That's what makes it special to me. As a player, I don't know if I can pinpoint exactly what it is, but the gameplay loop is, I just find it so much more satisfying than any other like server that I've played that has a gameplay loop. Like
100%, yeah.
If I had to take my best guess at what it is, when you're playing like other servers like Skyblock or Windcraft, the each like piece of content is far shorter, and when you're in the middle of it, your only like real progress of how far you are is like, oh, I've like moved further in location. Meanwhile, with Monumenta and its dungeons, it feels like I can look back at where I've been and I can see all the progress that I've made, because there used to be spawners there, and now it's a beautiful landscape with creeper holes and no spawners.
Yeah, for sure. And it just being survival is so rare, which helps contribute to that. You make your mark on the dungeon as you play it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well said. And what is a typical gameplay loop for you outside the dungeons? Like, do you log on daily and just do your bounties, do strikes? What occupies your time when you play?
I've mostly done like R3 POIs for bounties, and various dungeons, because I always find it a little bit difficult to try to pull together a full party for a strike. Especially because I don't want to log on and then wait for however long to see a like ruin party form or whatever.
Sure.
So it just keeps it a nice way to be able to log on, get some progress done, and then log off and do whatever work I need to do or whatever, or various stuff. Who knows?
It'd be cool if there was like a way to queue right into the strike once it hits enough people and then go right back to where you were, so you don't lose the progress of running a POI or a dungeon.
That would be really convenient, yeah.
If only.
If only.
What are your hobbies outside the game?
I guess I kind of alluded to earlier as well, with the various like smaller programming projects, but I also like when I was younger, I used to play various musical instruments. By various, I mean I played the viola and the piano.
Nice.
But I stopped after a while because I just wasn't finding the lessons any fun. But nowadays I enjoy listening to a lot of different music, so that's one of my...
What are your favorite genres and artists?
I try to listen to a ton of different things, but my favorite artist of all time is probably Pink Floyd.
Cool.
Apart from that, I mean, there's so many different rock subgenres that it's hard to keep track of at this point, but there's one of them called post-rock, which it's kind of hard to know anything by the name, but it basically uses rock instrumentation for like non-rock songs, and I just found the sounds and stuff that come from that genre to be unmatched by anything else. So
is Floyd post-rock?
A few of Floyd's songs definitely approach post-rock. There's a track off one of their earlier albums before they grew like gigantic. It's called Echoes. It's like 23 minutes long, and that
was the best.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite song of all time, if I had to say. I know I don't like saying favorites, but it's definitely got to count.
I'll go listen to Echoes after this.
Yeah. That's that.
Do you think you could still play the viola and piano if you had to, or has it left you?
I feel like I could pick up the piano again if I put like a few hours a day into it. But the viola, I think the viola is a lost cause for me at this point. It's been way too long.
Fair. Are you currently in school, or are you working?
I'm currently in college,
Nice.
working a summer job and stuff, but yeah,
Good stuff. Studying what?
computer science.
What a shocker.
Gigantic surprise.
What's your favorite subject that you're taking right now?
I took a course last semester that was sort of like an introduction to various forms like formal logic. It was brutally difficult, but it definitely changed the way I think about a lot of different logic problems.
Very cool. Even in the digital logic sense, or just strictly philosophical formal logic?
It's kind of it really applies to anything. Like the class itself worked with, like, say you have this statement which is true and then this statement which implies another statement and all that stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it really applies to like any sort of logical processes, because anything that can be described as various forms of logic can all tie in to each other.
Absolutely. Good stuff. What has surprised you most about making the game or working on Monumenta?
Ooh, I guess initially I was just, and I kind of still am, I was surprised by how sort of open it is to each developer's vision of the game. Like, I don't really know what I expected, but when I first applied, I sort of imagined that there would be this overarching guy who just decides, yes, we will make this content and you will do the implementation and stuff like that. I don't really know what I was expecting, but it's just cool how much each individual developer has over
I don't know why I thought that was
the game.
Yeah.
The deceptive light pillar.
Nice. Do you have a fondest memory as a developer? You mentioned your Zenith run as the best as a player.
Yeah. I guess I wasn't super involved with the actual. Okay, I wasn't super involved with it, but somewhat recently, as in like I think it was like the past year, the Small Point Secret released.
Nice.
Which I just always I occasionally I just think back on it and how it's just sort of like, I don't know, I find the storytelling done there to be immaculate. So even though not having too much to do with it, as a developer, I'm pretty proud to know that that's a part of the game we have here.
Awesome. The storytelling in the game, or the storytelling through that whole community trial? Like the story that the players told?
Just storytelling in the game, mostly.
Nice. It's funny you say that, because Charging gave the same answer, roughly, to his question, and I inserted the... It's up on YouTube, but it's unlisted. I'm about to release it tonight, but it's the video clip that Ian took of all of them, the very first clear popping in and yelling about what a cool discovery it was. Is going to be in that one. So I'm glad that that meant a lot to more than just him.
Yeah.
It's a great moment. I know you don't like favorites, so I'll say, what are three of the ones that you really like video games?
Okay, Minecraft doesn't count. That's out.
Sure.
Banned. It's forbidden.
Illegal.
Okay, I gotta say Elden Ring.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've played through the game like 7 times. It's
rookie numbers.
Yeah, it's just,
get those up.
Yeah, I need to work on that, we've got Night Rain in a few days too. So
Okay, so since you brought it up, part of the reason I wanted to get all these out of the way was so that next weekend I can just do nothing but play Night Rain. That's why I was like, hey, you free Memorial Day?
yeah,
Yeah, I'm so
good choice,
excited.
good choice. Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, let me know if you want to stack up for a. Have they revealed if it can be 2-player or just 1 and 3?
I don't recall. I remember hearing 1 and 3. I'm not sure about 2 either.
Okay. Well, let me know if you want to play together.
Yeah.
Looks like I was freeing up your weekend for it too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What's your favorite section of Elden Ring? If you have one. I'm sorry, you don't like favorites. My bad.
No, it's okay. Well, no, I can say it's Limgrave and Stormvale. It's they. I kind of like to imagine that they spent like 50% of the development of the game just on that area alone, and then had to rush through the remaining 75% of the game to get it out in time, because it's just the amount of intricate
density.
It still blows my mind how intricate Stormvale Castle is.
Yeah, you talk about that whole, am I supposed to be here? Oh, there is something here. Wow, they planned for this. Like, Stormvale is the peak of that. I thought that same thing so many times going through it. And just being able to jump was the biggest thing. Like, am I supposed to get on this roof? Can I get on this roof? It's such a good feeling.
Yeah, it almost doesn't feel intentional. Like, there's this one area that's like, this jump, I'm pretty sure I failed it 3 times before I could, before I actually hit it, and I was like, there's no way I'm supposed to be here. And then there was just like an entire section, and my mind was blown.
They get us.
They understand.
Awesome.
Apart from Elden Ring, it's okay, probably Hollow Knight as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just love that game. It's kind of hard to say precisely why, but I don't know. I just remember having like really cool feelings while going through the exploration.
For sure.
Because it's such a unique style that, I mean, not a Metroidvania, but the art style and the way the like world is formatted feels.
Or does it just look like that?
I'm pretty sure it's a dude who just hand paints it all. Yeah. And third, it's probably Sekiro. I'm sweeping with the FromSoft and the Souls-like, but
it just shows you're consistent.
Yep.
Great choices. Sorry, focusing. What are some other of your favorites? You mentioned Floyd, but like movies you love, books you love, TV shows.
In terms of movies, I really like a lot of the work done by Wes Anderson. Mm-hmm. Specifically, The Grand Budapest Hotel is probably one of my favorite movies of all time.
I know the name, but I couldn't tell you the first thing about it. What about it makes you love it?
It's sort of pretty much everything created by Wes Anderson looks phenomenal. Mm-hmm. It's just his one. I think it's his work that has the best storytelling to accompany the visuals. Like, it's a lot of his other ones sort of have a plot that's a little bit hard to follow, a little bit slow, but the way the pacing runs through the movie it just works, really.
Awesome. So you said you read Tolkien at some point. Are you a Lord of the Rings guy? Silmarillion and all that?
I
Genre?
I haven't read Tolkien beyond The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, although I've read each of those like 2 or 3 times.
Awesome.
I haven't gone too far into fantasy beyond that. I've definitely read quite a few series. I just can't recall off the top of my head. I bet if you explained the plot of a few ones, I could tell you, oh yeah, I've read that, but yeah.
Nice. Tell us something interesting about you that I would never have even thought to ask you about in the first place. Like a free question, or a question you wish I had asked you, so you got the chance to talk about it.
Ooh, that's a tough question.
I like how we've almost perfectly, we're coming to the very end of the questions, and we're like right at the end of the dungeon. We've spaced this so well.
Perfect dungeon, perfect dungeon.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I don't know, I'm really blanking on a free thing about me.
Don't worry if you don't want to, or we can come back to it.
If I remember something, I think of something, I can call back to that, yeah.
If it has been mentioned to the player base, what are you most looking forward to that we're coming out with? This isn't the time for leaks, but aside from that, within that
Yeah. I can't leak our next 2 years of content.
Oh,
That's
no, it's horrible.
That's horrific.
Spoilers, there might be another Wool Dungeon. We are not just ending at Brown.
Yeah, the game is not cancelled, guys. We promise. I don't think I can say that about anything that's been announced so far that's exceptional for me, but there's definitely a few things that we have in development that I'm very excited for, so not to keep people in the mystery too much,
Sure.
Mysterious, cool content.
The mysteriousest. So while you have a captive audience, just enraptured by our incredible conversation, is there anything that you want to say to our player base, the rest of the team, the patrons who might be watching this?
I don't know, I guess to the Monumenta community in general, pretty big thank you to you all, because this has been one of the best communities that I've been a part of online, so I'm really glad to be here, and I don't know, excited to do development work.
Well said, and agreed. Did you think of a free question thing that I would never think to ask you?
Doesn't come to mind. I think it's too open. If it's more specific, I can come up with stuff, but
That was close.
dude, I've fallen on this before, and it's been horrific as I plummet into the depths below.
I know, but the shame of bridging is worse. It is. Catch-22. Well done. Perfectly timed. Wow.
Immaculate.
I don't know if we've ever pulled that off before, that the questions end right as we press the button.
Wonderful.
Well done, Eliux. Thank you so much for your time today, and here, I'm going to grab my stuff and come out into the lobby. Feels antisocial the one time we're apart to end there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you, what's your greatest achievement in Monumenta, you think? That, like, have you done Hexfall? You beaten the hardest content, or a particular high rank of Zenith?
I've done pretty much everything except high ranks of Zenith. So I don't know. There's just a lot of
like A4.
Highest. I think I did A14.
Oh, dude, that counts as high. Holy cow! I've only done 12. Nice.
Yeah.
Use a pro. Well done. Well, thank you so much for your time today and for your hard work and your dedication to the community. Sure appreciate you, Eliux.
Thank you for having me, Mob. It's been a great time.
All right. Have a great day. Thank y'all for watching, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your summers and you enjoy all the things we've got in store. See ya.